Welcome to the Emergency Management Do One Thing personal video training series. My name is Quentin Graham. As an emergency manager, it is our goal to provide continuous training towards making a disaster resilient installation. What this means is that as an installation team, we respond together to quickly save lives, mitigate the hazard, and return to normal operations. Because we, the installations, are the backbone for the warfighter. This series focuses on completing one thing each month to become more prepared. We use the Do One Thing program. Now, for the next essential topic, your instructor.
Hello again, this is Quentin Graham, your favorite emergency manager, and we're at doing this Do One Thing. So here we go. We're on step 2, essential business functions. We look at the next screen. You can see that we're in a 12-month process here, and we have multiple things that we do each month. So, goal for step 2 is determine what keeps your business running and take steps to ensure you can continue in an emergency or a disaster. So, why determine my essential functions? Well, a lot happens in your business every day. Some activities can be suspended, some can't. So we prioritize which business functions are critical to the continued operation of your business and disaster. Identify what functions can be delayed and how long. And there's a standard that we use. Get with your emergency manager and we'll help you figure that part out. And what can be deferred in the event of a potential disaster. This is a foundation of your business continuity plan. So, essential functions are parts of your business that cannot be suspended for more than 30 days. If your business is to continue, these are functions to focus on when you are planning for disaster. So, choose one thing to do this month. Identify the functions that are essential to the operation of your business or organization. Determine what things could interrupt your business functions and take steps to minimize your risk. Consider diversifying your business functions to become more disaster resilient, which means don't put all the eggs in one basket or don't put all your same resources all in one spot. So, identify the functions that are essential to the operation of your business or organization. Identify which business functions or organizational functions must be restored within 30 days. So, these are your essential functions. So, review your business plan, standard operating procedures, organizational charter, mission statement. Determine which business functions cannot be suspended for more than 30 days. Then, identify those that must be restored within 12 hours in order for your business to continue. So, it normally goes 12, and then a week, and then over 30 days. So, kind of within that 30-day mark, before it and after it. So, those are the 4 kind of groupings that we can kind of put in there and kind of puts it in place. Review employee job description. Determine which human capital are critical to support the functions you identified above. Determine which clients or client information, inventory, and infrastructure are critical for the continued operation of your business or organization. Establish which information technologies and vital records are critical for continued operations, such as software programs, databases, or so forth, and how can you mitigate some of that by putting procedures or policies or something else in place. And then you have now identified essential business functions you need to sustain your business in a disaster. So task 2 is determine what things could interrupt your essential business functions and take steps to minimize your risk. Gather the results of your business impact analysis from Do One Thing, NIS 1, which is risk assessment. Determine your type business impact analysis risks and the impacts that come with them. Determine how each impacted affects the essential business functions that you identified above. Determine what steps can be taken to minimize your risk. For example, if your business depends on infrastructure, utilities, communication, internet access, transportation, logistics, etc. How would losing those systems affect your ability to continue your essential functions? And what can you do to prevent it, to mitigate against it, or to minimize the damage that is from it? For example, impact long-term power outage more than 48 hours. What are those effects on business? Critical systems that rely on electricity are down. Sales, manufacturing, etc. Support systems may be affected as well. Heating, cooling for servers, security, etc. Minimize that risk. Purchase a generator with enough capacity to power key systems. Contract with a fuel supplier to make sure that you'll be able to continue to operate it until power is restored. So let's look at task 3, and that's consider diversifying your business functions to become more disaster resilient. So diversifying your business isn't something that you can do overnight, but is develop long-term plans or strategic planning. Consider how you can make your business stronger by diversifying the operations, not putting everything all in one spot, or diversifying the suppliers, or diversifying the customers, so that we have multiple kinds of things that we can do at given times. So task 3 is consider diversifying your business functions in diversifying the operations. After a disaster, your customer base may change. This is especially true if you're a retailer with localized clientele. Neighborhoods often change drastically after a disaster. Residents move away, especially in areas with high rental rate. That may be something in a business type aspect. New residents move in, often from different income levels, age ranges, ethnic groups than previous residents. May not need the goods or services that you provide, so we may get different customers from different units or whatever else. So we need to always be looking to what can our customer base, if it stays the same, or they may not have the income or the congressional funding to shop at our business or our organization for several months after the disaster because of a furlough or maybe some other things that might be going on. Could you adapt your product or service to something that is needed after the disaster? For example, a shoe store might focus they're stocked on protective equipment like boots and work gloves to help customers with cleanup after disasters. There are things that we can do to diversify what we do so that we are actually doing good in a disaster. Maybe it's not ours. So diversifying the suppliers, there are many benefits to using local suppliers. Transportation costs lower, or whatever else. And I know we have certain things that we can do, but where else can we get these types of supplies, and what legal methods can we obtain these? Close relationships that you're contributing to the local economy. That's always good for our base, because if we're contributing to the local economy, then they want to help support us and keep us going, and they want to keep us in the community, which affects our political aspects of that part too. However, a disaster that affects your business or organization is also likely to affect our local suppliers, and those suppliers may not be actual goods or whatever, but it might be services. Suppliers that have multiple locations around the region or the country are more likely be able to continue operations in the immediate aftermath of a disaster. So definitely look at some of those contracts and see, if this individual section can't do something, maybe somebody else can. Talk to your suppliers about their business continuity plan. What do they plan on doing if there's a disaster, and how do they continue that operations, even though that something else might be affecting that region? Don't let your business fail because others have failed to plan. So consider clauses in supplier contracts that release you in the event of disaster, so that if we need to have a specific requirement, then there's a clause that needs to be built into that, so that we can utilize different type of suppliers or hold stuff, especially if we go to higher protection levels or something of that nature. So diversify those customers. Brainstorm potential customers for what we do, our product or service. Think about different geographical markets and demographics, even how your product or service might be used differently. How could you market your product differently to appeal to a different audience? Write down every possibility, even those that seem unrealistic. They might become realistic. In the aftermath of disaster, you'll have to make many hard decisions, often under the worst possible conditions, and that's what we look to our leadership to do. Record the ideas that you come up with and with now to use as contingency plans after an emergency event, and as a guide for future development of your business. So, our next step is to look at facilities. If your facility is damaged, how will you continue to operate? Taking steps to protect your building and its contents ahead of time can get you back into your facility faster. Having alternate work sites, telecommuting, even working from a vehicle are all possible solutions, but need planning ahead to make sure that they're successful. So this again is Quentin Graham, your favorite emergency manager from Sierra Army Depot, and this is Do One Thing at www.doonething.com. And also a shout out to ready.army.mil. So thank you, and we'll see you again next month.